Hello and welcome to the Beauty Seed once again. And tonight, this evening, we will be chatting with Joel and Yustina, two of my favorite artist friends, about their process and prospects and all the things going on in their world. See where it goes. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Beauty Seed.
Ta-da!
You did it. Welcome. Beauty Seed
What's
podcast and
happening,
whatnot.
sir?
Life is good. I see your beautiful
Good.
face. Are you guys out of there?
Oh, there
There
we
you
go.
are. Is Yustina
Nice.
going to join us, or is it solo?
Yep,
mission?
she's walking in right now.
That's amazing.
We had it. Sorry, we were late. We had an extended dog walk adventure, and we're
Dude,
running to catch
look
up.
at my face, if you can.
Say that again.
I am so stressed out about it.
About dog life or this?
About you being late, about dog
Yeah,
life.
I can tell.
Let's let this dog life.
Yeah.
About dog
Oh
life.
my gosh,
Let's
that's
start
so good. Beautiful.
Hello! Oh my gosh.
Beautiful,
what a cutie,
all of
both
you.
of you. All of you.
Well, we'll show you our dog too in a second. He's out running
He's
around.
right here.
Oh, he just
Like a
came in.
mustache.
Hey, thanks.
Very
Getting a little
handsome with a
shaggy.
mustache. You could be on
A little
TV.
shaggy. Thank you. I am right now.
Just hit. Chili.
Oh, he's a big boy.
When did you get a dog?
Just exactly 1 month ago.
Wow.
Must-
How exciting. And he's was he a rescue?
Yeah, he's 1 year old. He was born at the rescue, so his mom was a pregnant rescue.
Wow.
And he was raised with a pack of wolves or wolf hybrids he was rehomed once, but mostly he grew up at the rescue with like 7 other big wolf dogs.
Yeah, but
Wow.
he's not part wolf. He's like Pyrenees lab mix mostly, and then he has German Shepherd, Shiloh Shepherd, Malamute, and Husky, like 10% of each.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll be nice up there.
Yeah, it's great. He has really activated not only us, but the land, so much. We have such a dynamic piece of property here, and he just brings it to life. He turns it into a playground, and it's truly amazing.
Yeah.
And he's really well behaved for a 1 year old. He's still a baby by most accounts for big dogs, but yeah, he responds super well. He listens most of the time, and he doesn't run off really. So
Wow. That's the
better than I'm doing.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
every dog's different. We feel like we really lucked out. But is yours running off?
What's that?
Does your dog run away?
No.
No, it sticks around.
It's attached to Mara like
Yeah, that's kind of the way with Yustina too.
Yep, I got a big shadow now.
But he's getting better. He was like bawling his eyes out anytime she would even go into the main house to use the bathroom or something.
Or the other room.
Yeah, now he's chilled a little bit.
Yeah, but it's been like a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
It's pretty fun. Yeah. It's definitely brought out a lot of joy and takes a lot of energy.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your parents are still living there, correct?
They are, and my mom and grandpa brought home 20 surprise chickens today. So hence what our day.
Happy surprise chicken day.
Yeah.
Because we're getting another the thing is we're getting 21 pullets and 1 rooster in 2 weeks. And
we had already ordered.
So we were planning to build a chicken tractor today, and then they went to Wilco and brought home 20 4-week-old chickens. So now we have to figure all that out. So that's been our day, was like a surprise, more surprise animals. I mean, yeah, we have lot of animal
Well,
life
happy
going on.
happy surprise chicken day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And are you guys working on a project right now as well?
No,
No.
not like we're finally getting back to some of the like house projects we've been wanting to do for a long time and finishing some of the remodel. But we're like
land
jumping between
cleanup.
that and land cleanup and now chicken projects. But
Yeah, and
we have
garden. Yeah.
we have a bunch of proposals out, or 3 big proposals out that are all
Well, let's start with tell the audience and Mara and me what are you guys what are you into? What's the proposals for? You guys make some art. I know that.
yeah, I mean,
Let's talk some trash.
I'd love to talk trash. I'm a little hesitant. I have kind of a thing where I don't like to talk about projects that we haven't got yet.
Well, of course. There's
So
plenty of case history.
yeah, I like to keep things kind of, until they're happening. I like to let them stew in the universe. But they're all public pieces. We've really like put all of our intention and desire to, at least on the in the last few years in the professional side of making art, has been to do as much as we can in the public sphere, and in all the ways that is. A lot of times it's people that have private land, but they're public facing spaces, but also with cities and municipalities. So the last year we did 4 big public projects. That was kind of one of our craziest years yet. And, Yustina and I have been building together as a team for 8 years. And so this was definitely one of the biggest years we've ever had, as far as just constant, never ending one project to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And it did end. It wasn't never ending.
Yeah, so seemingly endless.
But man, it was a whirlwind of a year, that's for sure. And feeling really grateful that we even have that opportunity to make art and make a living at it. But yeah, it ain't an easy one, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's the 2 of you, right?
Yeah, these projects we've done a lot of other projects, and we kind of both came out of or met during a time when we were doing much bigger, larger collaborative or larger crude pieces. But in the last few years, since we've been focusing just on public pieces, there's been a few that required like massive crews, but this year was mostly all smaller, medium scale pieces that we were able to. We used a little extra hands during loading and install sometimes, but for the most part, it was just us. And we really have an amazing collaboration where we mostly do all the bits together, like 50%. We're designing together, we're concepting together, we're
building
all the parts of the building. Is like we're really both.
How long did it take you as a couple to streamline that to a place where it seemed effective?
I mean, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
it's effective in the sense that we duke it out to the end. But yeah, sometimes it's a big struggle, honestly. And as any collaboration is, and any relationship is. But I guess I feel lucky. I had a lot of practice in that in my earlier years of doing art. I've kind of always really enjoyed and gravitated towards like large collaborations and doing things with multiple creative leads, not just like a lot of volunteer help, but also that. But just like collective design and build, where everyone's sort of equals and we're all sort of agreeing on a certain direction or a certain theme, and working it out to make that become a reality, or the synthesis of all the parts. So that's what she and I strive for.
Did
but
you?
I was gonna say, I feel like for us, as like we started working together in late 2016,
Mhm.
and we at first it was more of a dynamic where it was like Joel had, when we first met, Joel had already had like a bunch of projects booked that I started helping him on, and then 2018 when we got the whale, that was our like big public project where we did as like a complete
Which was rad.
yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah, but that was our first like super like, I think full half and half. Before it was a little, I would say you were like had concepts or had a plan, and then I was helping you along through that. But
yeah. But since then,
There's an aspect that I'm really curious about that I think a lot of artists don't ever find themselves engaging in, that I think is probably likely led you to more financial success with it, if not more creative success as well. And that is the input of an agent into that scenario that helps you negotiate the space of art. How has that changed both how you do your art and why? Or has it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
And they define themselves as artist management and consultancy, but our team, Building 180, is amazing. And I think one of the biggest parts is it takes so much of the stress off of our dynamic of, the administrative part, especially when it's like a big public project.
Right. I think they like really let us step into the realm of the public sphere in a way that was like impactful and organized, because I think before, and also really have the have the backbone of having a structure and somebody to advocate for you when you're like pricing and asking for negotiating contracts and stuff like that. Because before we would like either festival work or like public private pieces, like we would negotiate contracts, but we didn't have lawyers, we didn't have anything, we were just kind of winging it. And that, especially if you're not like really clear with your boundaries, that can get you in trouble. And it had gotten us in trouble, and where we didn't have clear agreements or something like that, and or understandings, and clients pull out or whatever happens. So I think, I mean, we were fortunate enough that like one of our like the person who actually kind of not introduced us, but like helped us become like closer when we first met, is now on our management team, and so she's been had been a friend of Joel's.
She was one of my crew members that we all met at the same time.
Yeah. But so there's like, we had friends that started this like consulting agency that came from a place of helping big public art happen themselves. And so they really understood what needed to happen and how the artists needed to be supported. So we got to be like, they built their company as we were building our portfolio and our like collaboration style. And
so a little bit of right place at right time.
Yeah, right place, right time. And also I think like if you're like an artist now looking like that, management really does help us with logistics, so we can actually be in the art, and then they're dealing with like permits and structures, helping us talk to our engineers so we don't always have to manage all that communication, helping us manage like timelines, budgets, all of that. Like they are like the spreadsheet masters, like we help with that, but we don't have to fully organize it. We can just and then they can also help us with like press and stuff like that. And so it really does give a lot of added bonus. It helps in a collaboration dynamic because it manages our stresses between each other too, and like helping us not like focus on like whatever, fighting about the art instead of fighting over like, did you send that email? Because that was one of our biggest stresses, was like getting on each other for like the logistical stuff instead of being able to be like fully in the process of like just being able to be with the piece and not have
Sure.
to fall into those roles.
And you still do, obviously.
we still do it,
have
yes.
tons
Yeah.
of, emails and communications and designs, but it's so much greatly reduced, and they really take the edge off, and accounting, all the things you don't want to do, it's like,
Right.
and asking for what you deserve, it's like a lot of times when I was bidding projects, like,
we don't know the market as well. Like they're like people that are in the market and stuff like that.
Yeah, I find
we're like
market
thinking about our
analytics
labor
nauseating.
time. We're like, yeah.
Say that again?
I find market analytics, staring at them, a little nauseating. So I want to share a very quick story that's appropriate and will lead into another question for you. And that is, when I was 16 or so, I had a friend who was a gallery owner in Ashland. And she was a friend of the family. My mom's best friend was a co-owner in the gallery previously and had just stepped away from it. I went in there just because I was walking around downtown. I'm like, what does it take to get into a gallery? So I went in there and I asked her, and she's like, I can't help you. And later, my friend Marie, who was the other gallery owner at one point, came to me, and she says, I got a call from this lady, and she's really worried about you. She was wondering if you were on drugs or something, because she said you came in asking really strange questions and things. And I was like, what? I asked her how does the process work? How do you do this? And sure, I dressed like a little punk rocker or whatever. I may or may not have been high on mushrooms. I don't recall. I was pretty much all the time at that point in my life. But the point being that how does a young artist engage that space to approach getting clients and getting what is the process of getting an agent? I mean, portfolio review. What are some things that go into that?
I mean, I think I could speak to it from my experience with it, and my approach was really to reject that whole world of acceptance.
Me too.
And oddly enough, like I never pursued, the more traditional route. I never went to art school, never had any formal training, never really strived towards gallery work. Through different collaborations and stuff, I have some pieces or have had, showings in some bigger gallery and museum spaces, but never really pursued that. So I don't know how to pursue that angle or what the
well,
right
more
way
meant
is
in the context of how do you approach these institutions that act on your behalf when you are to. What's that process look like?
Yeah, like with management, it's really tricky because there's not that many managers that manage artists, and especially the kind of art that we make that's very much outside of the realm of institutionalized art, or fine bronze sculpture, traditional and classical sculpture. It's very different, and I think in the last few years, it's gotten to be something much more desirable. A lot of towns and cities are really interested in art that tells a story and that's more sustainable in materiality, or talks about our material reality, and that it's kind of opened some doors in that way. And one of the best things that I would recommend to people that are like just trying out is there are a lot of cool online resources that all the open calls, for all gallery, not just big public art open calls and requests for qualifications, but smaller gallery shows and exhibits that are both in person and online. And you don't necessarily need to be traveling the world going there. You can be, if you get accepted, you can ship your pieces. And like the it's really startling when we have time or interest in looking up projects. I'm always amazed at how much is out there. And one of them is cafe listings. The other one is what's the other one we use? Coda Works.
Yeah.
Coda Works and cafe listings, and I can get the email for you on
Yeah, that'd
those.
be great.
But
We can put it in the show notes for this.
yeah, put it in, because like it's always amazing, and they're not it's like all range of pieces, but and also residencies and grants and everything. They're resources that I don't think enough artists really know about. Like
Right.
and almost all the big city commissions and municipal projects, whether it's like public art or inside, government buildings and that kind of thing, go through these websites, and a lot of them are totally free to submit to. And
And a lot of municipalities have a requirement written into their contracts for new development to have money go to
oh, yeah.
art. I actually
Yep.
helped establish that in Ashland's code.
Nice.
in my-
Yeah, the
in my earlier years.
1% in a lot of places for all new
Mm-hmm.
development projects, and that's huge. And it's also like, yeah, a great way to get better at that process is just apply to them all the time, and then you're like refining not only your portfolio, the more projects you get, but like your
letters of interest
and all the bio and that sort of
Building
thing.
evidence.
Building evidence
Yeah.
towards your inspiration and abilities.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then like some of the profiles you like can create a portfolio kind of in there, and then you can send it off multiple times, so it's already like all the images are uploaded. Like you create a cafe account and you put all your images and stuff
And
in there, and then you can apply. Yeah, so I think like there's a lot of resources. I feel like online is the best way, and I think also getting out there and doing art and to like getting into art communities is really the two ways that you can get into that world.
So I actually recently did something that was totally news to me and outside of my ken, on the Arts and Culture Network on LinkedIn, which is a thing that I'm involved in now, which has a really wide audience. It's like 1 million viewers almost, but they have 5-minute speed networking calls, and people really get hired off of these 5-minute calls.
Wow, that's cool.
It was, I had a ton of fun.
A new avenue for you.
Yeah. I'll send you the link.
With all your free time. So it sounds like, Joel, you were the guy getting the jobs, finding the jobs early on, but who would you say is the one that's finding most of your jobs right now? Is it you, Yustina, or the management, or is it a combination of those? And then who's critical in the proposal writing aspect?
Good questions. Yeah. It's we've been really blessed that almost all of the projects that we had last year and really in the 8 years together, they've actually all been commissions and people that have come to us. And so we have either not had to through us or through our management.
Or to Building 180.
But
Building 180 is our management company, by the way. But
so it's been really incredible, and we've done our share of applying to big projects, but I don't think we've
never actually gotten a cafe project.
Gotten one of the projects.
We haven't applied to that many, but
we've a handful of them.
Yeah, we've been really lucky because Joel, when we met, Joel had this festival tour planned, and we did that together. And then basically we were trying to break into public art and kind of came to a breaking point of how is this going to work? And then we were all really we got a call, Building 180 got a call about the whale, and they're like, do you know somebody who can make a giant plastic whale? And they're like, we actually know the people that would love, like, could make. And at that point we were like, okay, we're doing everything all together. And I guess in the proposal writing, we all have really different strengths, and do it together. You know, we come up with the copy usually together, and then I format it into like a rougher like PowerPoint presentation, and then Building 180 does the final edit and does a little spruce up usually, and then like edits and helps us finagle it. Yeah.
You guys ever use like 3D renderings or anything like that?
We actually do not.
I mean,
Only
not 3D.
Not for proposal period either.
Yeah, for the whale, we did. We hired a friend who is a modeler who.
But that was like after we got the project.
Yeah, that was just to be able to make accurate shop drawings for the fabrication company.
It was quite big.
Yeah,
as whales tend to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was built. That was built at Agapolis, correct?
Yep, that was in.
Can you tell us a little? Can you tell us a little bit about Agapolis and like the scene that was going on there and how that influenced your trajectory?
Sure, that was quite a wild adventure. It was really interesting the way it all happened. You know, we were basically just like, to give the background to it, we were, when Yustina and I met, we were both nomadic. We had both at the same time, before we knew each other, set out to do like a long stretch of building projects on the road, doing mostly festival work. But I had, you know, before that been very stationary, had a studio, an apartment in San Francisco, and had been building out of a huge warehouse
called Building 180.
Hence the name of the company that represents us. For like 8 years straight, I was a tenant there and constantly rooted there, and had started traveling a lot more internationally for it, and decided just that I really wanted to experience not being attached to anything at all. My work was increasingly going more on the road and internationally, and so it didn't make sense to keep a studio financially in the most expensive town in America. So I just let it go. And Yustina had done the same thing. She was working with bamboo,
the large scale bamboo installation company on a festival circuit. So yeah, I was like,
I know some folks.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of our friends have worked for them. And yeah, like I was fresh out of college and was just really disillusioned with the world, and was very much like, I want to like learn. I was, went to school for environmental design and like environmental policy and ethics and stuff like that. So I was just like, ready to join the circus and learn also really how to build. Like I was such a designer at that point and had all the like this, educational background on design, and wanted to get some hard skills, and like I was enthralled with the festival world. So I was on this Building 180, Bamboo DNA circuit, and that's where we met. And then after we did a few events together, and there's like a lot more to the story, but like, and then after Boom of 2016, we decided he had more projects after that, and we decided to be on the road. So we went on the road together, and we're on the road for like 2
That'll
years.
test the relationship.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Road tested.
We did like a global tour.
Yeah, our first year together, building together, and together as a couple, was over 5 continents.
Yeah.
So
in 8 countries or something within that. And so it was insane. And you learn so much about a person by getting to travel together. A lot of adventures. But anyway, this was a long way to say, like, we had been nomads.
We got all night.
We had been nomads completely for a number of years. And then we kind of had arrived back in California and were like looking for a place to be. We were both kind of sick of traveling. We
were over festivals.
We had both decided we are not doing any more festivals, and we wanted to move into public art, but had very little experience in that. I had a few public pieces up that were, had come through, like the festival work that I've been doing. That, in fact, one of our first pieces ever was a piece that's still up at a children's hospital in Dublin, and but we really wanted to move into the public sphere. Had no idea how that was going to happen, and
we really didn't know what we were doing. We were just like sitting in our friend's cabin in the woods, kind of being like, "What's next? Like, what is going to happen? We're running out of any money, and we don't know what to do with ourselves." And we got a call.
Yeah, right at that time,
the universe answered.
Yeah,
the universe.
Our friends
answered.
who had started this artist management company had called us, and they got this call from Monterey Bay Aquarium, and we put in a proposal.
Yeah,
we put in a proposal for the whale project, and at that same time, they also had Meredith, the other friend who started the business, had gotten
like one of her friends,
an invitation to populate or take proposals for this artist in residency program at this brand new like Techtopia that was being built. That was a brand new project, and so
like they were in the middle of remodeling when we got there.
Yeah, so to just paint a little bit of the picture of what that was, it was someone who's one of the big CEOs of giant tech and social media companies, had this, had been a part of like a communal housing or house in San Francisco, and wanted to like expand that to the next level to get a larger acreage where people could, have eventually develop like a bunch of dwellings and people could have families, and like let that vision grow beyond like just a big Victorian in the city, and so that's how Agapolis was born. And
they had all this space and didn't really they were like unsure how they were going to populate it, so they're like, let's have a big artist in residency. And at that point, and our manager happened to be like really good friends with the project manager of that project, and she was like, okay, let's throw an artist in residency. And at the same time, we got the whale project. And we were like, where are we going to build this whale? We don't have a studio. We don't even have a house, and they're like, okay, well, we happen to be doing this like artist in residency, and it had like a 9-bay warehouse and place where you could actually build an 82-foot whale. So they had agreed to donate, like pick us as part of the artist in residency and extend the artist in residency so that we could do the full project there.
It was supposed to be a 6-week project, and we needed 6 months to build the whale.
Yeah. It was quite a big shop too.
Quite a big shop. Yeah. It had formerly housed 400 tanks, military vehicles. So it had plenty of room for
that the property owner used to drive around the property with, correct?
Oh yeah, they would drive over cars on 4th of July, and they were fully functioning military vehicles. Yeah.
This is
the largest collection, private collection in the world. And they were still on the property when we got there. But that was a project of the previous owner, not the guy that we know.
I got it.
Agapolis. But yeah, the property itself had wild history, and it was incredibly beautiful up in the hills above, Silicon Valley. And so we did the whale project there, and we involved hundreds of crew and volunteer over the course of those 6 months. But for a lot of it, we had like a dozen, 8 to 12 people that were staying there, like helping us build through the process for different periods. And it was just nonstop. But anyway, we got through all that, and that was, the first year of Agapolis. And when we finished, they were still like they had a few full-time residents, but we had all gotten to be really good friends with the folks who lived there, and they asked us if we wanted to just become residents there. And we agreed, and then just became, renters, started paying rent and renting shop space and a room in the mansion there.
Yeah, describe the
And-
mansion a little bit when you have a second.
I
was-
mean, it's
it's
really kind of
wild.
a wild place to describe because
I know, huh?
It was a trip.
I actually had the opportunity of visiting. That's where I met
Yeah, that's where we
Mhm.
met.
through Clay McCabe.
Yep.
Shout out to Clay McCabe.
Yeah,
And I'll do a brief description
Yeah.
from an
Yeah, please.
outsider's perspective. You come up this crazy windy road to a massive gate in the middle of what seems like nowhere, and the entire top of this hill looking over the Alameda side of the bay.
yeah.
Wide expanse of
entire
Alameda,
bay.
Oakland, the whole Oakland Hills. And
Yep.
this house is like a ranch house on speed, where it comes up in steps, and there's like what, 4 living rooms and a like den and library, and then a sunken, like, must be 2 or 3 stories of vaulted ceiling,
40-foot vaulted ceilings.
40-foot vaulted ceiling church.
Yeah, the cathedral or
The cathedral room. That's where I
organ
stayed.
room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a room built to house an organ.
one of the biggest pipe organs ever made.
Yeah. It was a pretty wild space.
Is it
But we
still
had
there?
to-
No, they had sold off the pipe organ. The
Yeah,
room is
yeah.
still there. The cathedral
I
room
think
is still
so. I
there.
hope
but
so. I don't know. The owner sold the place.
yeah, the property has changed hands
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, but I think to like go back to your original question, I feel like it really was formative for us because it gave us a place to be and have a studio that was like semi affordable and be in the Bay Area, which had been home to both of us before we went on the road and like separately, And
Yeah.
so it was a place that we had a lot of connections. It was a place we had a lot of friends, and our managers are from there, so we had a lot of like ability to then and then the whale was installed in Chrissy Field, so
Yeah.
after that it was really easy to be able to integrate into the like San Francisco, California art scene in the public art realm. So I think that was really formative, and we got to be around some of the most amazing artists that are like just such inspirations and artists and
Known for that.
people and like people that will forever be in my heart. And yeah, we got to be there, live on that land for like 4.5 years and just form the best connections and have space and creativity to play with and land to play with, and learn about and really deepen our connection and really like crystallize what we wanted to do also in the way that we're doing it now and like where we are now. I think it helped us to develop that vision. So I think it was like super formative, being able
Oh,
to
cool.
have the opportunity
That-
to
Yeah, that leads
live
me
in a
into
crazy
the
place.
next thing.
Uh-huh.
Next thing I wanted to get into, oddly. So you were in the Bay Area, and
Mhm.
you have access to all these people, but you also had access to lots of materials for your kind of design aesthetic that you're into.
Oh yeah,
Unpack
that
that
was
Bay Area
design
has lots
aesthetic,
of
'cause you do
trash.
have one.
well, not just Bay Area, but yeah, we suddenly had 20 roommates, and so we would be able to scour just all the scraps of everyone else's projects and trash, and we got 90% of our material just from our house, and we kind of took on
I remember
like
having remodels and stuff. Yeah.
managing the garbage of the place, and so that was one of the roles that like we took on, and yeah, would like be able to cull from all the different types of waste that was coming out of there, and you can
Yeah.
imagine there was a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
like Sheila, like our
Yeah.
wolf, her name's Sheila. Anyways, she's all built, like she was built before Agapolis. She actually came to Agapolis with us, but we rebuilt her at Agapolis out of like the they had to put new gutters on the whole entire house. So we got to keep all those gutters and create them into Sheila's skin and her wolf skin.
which
Yeah,
is beautiful. And I suggest whoever's watching this go and check it out. We'll
yeah, Somo Village.
Yeah, to Soma Village in Roanoke Park, California.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just a lot of like really good materials, and of course, like, yeah, especially for like the whale, we were able to convince a lot of the recycling centers to like give us a lot of spy trash from them, or the material recovery facilities, because I don't like calling them recycling centers, but
they're commodities marketers.
yeah, but they were like, there was like Recology is in the Bay, and like they have artists in residency there, so there was some like a little bit of rapport to like talk to municipalities, because we've been like around the world and we've gone to lots of different dumps and been like, can we scavenge here? And that's not like that crazy of a question, because a lot of people scavenge from dumps, but you know, we get a lot of different reactions. And the Bay Area was very, for the most part, I feel like at the end it started getting like, it was harder to get recycled steel and stuff.
Mhm.
But
We're trash tourists.
yeah, we're trash tourists. So, but yeah.
Yeah, it was really the trash for the whale was specifically poetic, just because, you know, this property that we were doing it at is obviously it was, I think, literally the second most expensive zip code in the country, or definitely in the state of California, but potentially the country. But like literal billionaires all around us, you know, huge estates. And we had these recycling companies delivering 5,000 pound, like trucks full of rotten plastic trash, unwashed, completely filthy, crushed into bales. We had them delivering trash to this most affluent neighborhood, like through the golden pearly gates, and dumping it in our warehouse, where we then, you know, cleaned, shredded, processed it all.
They were
But
astonished.
you know, we had and this was the whale project coincided with China introducing its national sword policy, which effectively cut off all Western countries from shipping our waste to them anymore. So the trash mafia here was scrambling as to what to do with all this waste that there used to be a market for, and suddenly there wasn't. And so like they were more than happy to donate it, for one, because warehouses were piling up, and you know, landfills, whatever. They had nowhere to put it until they figured out a new, you know, sort of outlet, other countries that would take it. But in the meantime, we had guys that were like delivering these bales of trash to us that were like, this is the first time we've ever done a delivery of waste not to a boat that goes to China, like anywhere. He's like, this is the first time we've delivered anywhere in the US to drop off this commingled recycling. And it happened to be at like probably the most affluent address in
America.
that region.
It was pretty fun. I like that part of it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have like mountains of smelly trash there, but yeah, it was definitely a lot of juxtaposition there.
Our studio mates were not as happy, but c'est la vie.
Yeah, less Cassandra Lewis in her soul for
right.
Trash mess.
Oh
She
my
lives
God.
next door.
Yeah, that's like artistic license, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it smelled so bad.
Oh, man.
It was nasty.
Well, and think about it. Did you get my text message about this event that we're doing called Music and Sky?
I did, and then yesterday I finally like followed the link. I had got it at a busy point, but I'm not sure. We're still waiting to figure out our dates, so I'm hesitant to.
When is it? I didn't
June. What was it?
It's June 20th and the 24th through the 24th. But they're looking for somebody to head up the trash and recycling outreach and beautification project.
Man, I would love to.
It would be a comp ticket.
That'd be pretty awesome. I mean, we should talk about that more.
Mhm.
Yeah, off this call, but
Yeah.
I wanted to throw that out there because
Uh-huh.
I
also
love that idea.
everybody out there, Music at Sky happens once a year. It's amazing. Great speakers and music and good people
Where
like
at?
these two and us too. And yeah, it's
Yeah. And
rocking.
it's in Northern California, right?
This year it's in Mendocino.
Mendocino, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to hear more about it. From the glance I took at it, it looks like an awesome event.
Yeah. So you how did you like doing art for events? Did you find it to be like the community to be pretty easy to deal with and
I
space
definitely,
within?
it ran the whole gamut. Like there were parts of it that, and they were all different. We did so many different events and festivals that it'd be hard to say any blanket statement about any of them.
Yeah,
Some of
right.
them were the most amazing experiences and just some of the most incredible people and collaborative, like heart-centered events, and others were literally like psychic vampire events that seemed like they were just there to harvest your soul. So I loved all the experiences for sure. I didn't love all of it though in the
Yeah.
moments.
I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. I mean, I wasn't in it as long as you. Like, you have more years of the festival world. I, got out of it after a few for like a full-time world. Yeah, I think the community is really powerful, and I think and it's tough. Like, what running events is tough. But I think building something big together in like circumstances that you might not always be used to, like aka camping, for like months on end, really brings it makes this is a special bond for sure. And there's a lot of beauty, and like I mean I learned how to build through that world. So I'm really grateful for it in a lot of ways, and to be able to experiment and like really do different things. I think there's a lot of beauty in that, but I also think it really, really varies. And there's a lot of hardship within it too. And at this point, I'm kind of more like I would do it sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would add, especially to sort of connect to your earlier question about like, how do people go about, making big art or learning things about that process? It's one of the best ways to like get involved and get, if people don't have a big body of work or whatever, and they want to like learn what it takes to even make like a big vision dream come to life, go volunteer to be a crew member for one of these big projects for a festival or an event, and you will learn so much. And granted, that's going to be a mixed bag too, and you need to be selective about what.
Yeah, trust your heart, trust your intuition on that one. But
like you're going to learn how incredible and insane it is to take on a vision like that, and what the amount of energy and beauty that is required to do that.
From my experience, you'll also learn how to deal with the extremities, the extreme nature of some artists.
Yeah.
Well,
there's
for
some
sure.
big personalities out there.
For sure. Yeah. There's a lot of extreme versions of all of these feelings in that realm. And and I think every artist works differently, and some people run crews really stressfully and some people do not, and it's a whole
Have you found a hallmark of a well-run leadership for a well-run crew?
We've seen some really good examples, but like, no one's perfect.
We'd like to believe that we run a pretty good crew together.
Yeah.
But you have to really talk to our crew members about that.
All two of you.
Yeah.
But it also depends on a lot of it depends on the event itself. And like, you could have the best crew ever, but like, some of the some of the environments and like how an event supports the art or the crews that are there working has a lot to do with your experience there. And out of the dozens of events and festivals that we did, there's only a few that I would go back to like gladly, because they were such incredible experiences of creative and like just supportive of all the creative processes and all the people doing all the things. And so like some of the events are incredible, and whether you're working on a big art crew there or just working on site crews or volunteering at that level, it's just incredible to be to see what's possible with just human power and a few
combined focus.
telehandlers.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I've done both sides of that.
Yeah.
I think I think like signposts for good crew leadership, I think compassion, clarity, and organization is like some good. Because
have you ever dropped a project as you walked into it because you could see that it was going to be a shit show from the get-go?
Yeah. I mean, we've like gone through some proposal processes and then dropped out. Yeah. But that's more of like, because this like what we're referring to can also apply to like clients. You get through a process with a client and then you're like, this, like, you start pushing, like for us, how we usually approach that. If it doesn't feel good, we just start asking more questions. And if the questions aren't being reciprocated or like the answers aren't coming back resonant, then it usually trickles out somehow. But
yeah, I've definitely backed out of projects, like not like my personal, like there was one huge one where I was hired to be the lead builder for a enormous honorarium project for the Burn many years ago. And I got many months into designing and prototyping before I backed out, and it was partially like the realization of who I was working with and where their goals were, and a big part of that, and also which like I had already been like predominantly a trash artist or building with all recycled material, and for me a big part of that is like just the essence of rejecting consumerism and the world of just constant consumption, and not wanting to contribute to that I feel like the soul of the art is so much more potent, or at least of our art, of my art, when it's not tainted by that industrial nature, or when it's the reborn part of that industrial world. But yeah, part of the big reason I walked away from that specific project was like when I actually put the numbers together of our takeoff for lumber, like how much lumber this project was just going to burn. And it was all just an ego project for a couple rich folks, or a camp full of rich people. And when I actually realized like how many trees would have been cut down to do this one little like masturbatory thing, one big masturbatory thing, I was just like, no, I don't want my name attached to that. I don't want to be a part of it. And I quit. And, obviously I didn't like screw them over. They had plenty of time and there was already a huge crew.
Yeah. What did that feel like to make that decision for yourself?
It was tough, just because, like, at least at that time, especially too, I was like very, very much still had no idea how I was going to make a living being an artist. I was just a few years into like making the decision that I was not going to do any other kind of work anymore, that if I really wanted this for my life, that I had to stop taking other, high paying carpentry jobs and whatever else, because it was financially comfortable. I had to put that down. And so this was only a couple years into that. And so the fact that I had this gig that was paying me for like many months to build, and do this big thing that was going to be like, very high profile within that world. Walking away was tough because I was giving up a paycheck, and I was giving up like, getting paid to do what I wanted to do. But looking that, bill of lumber in the face and realizing like that was so against how I wanted to make art, made it easy.
Cool.
Because that dark feeling, I just said no to. I didn't just swallow it and say, okay, I'm going to do this one time. I said no. I don't want to do it.
I feel like we both, like, that's been like our guiding post of like, we try as much as possible to stay to our integrity, and like what is for us feels good. And that, I think, like, is always hard to say no sometimes, like, but it gets easier over time because you learn more how to trust. Because usually when you say no to that project, something better comes along and something more aligned shows itself, and a more aligned way to spend your energy. And it like makes you braver every time to say no to the things that are aligned. Because we are people that like to ask questions and are trying to, like, as much as like we create for the sake of creating, we also create with
There you are again, building evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, always.
Prove it out.
So I think that's like, I don't know, to like piggyback off your story.
Yeah.
It's great to piggyback off his story. What do you think that means about you?
What?
That you're able to do that?
That I can be in the flow.
How about you, Joel?
Just I think that like trusting your intuition and what feels good is just so important. And I think when you live a life that, we've, essentially as artists, it's, this bid for power that I don't want to be beholden to, this certain way, or this 9-to-5 job, or this, corporate reality, or this other thing. And it's a scary thing to embark on, especially when you're used to working jobs and, making a decent living. But if you don't have that inner compass, or that guide stone of emotion or feeling around what's good and what's not, I don't know how you would do it if you just said yes to everything. Like you get to work with what feels good and what the world, and that's the joy of being, in charge of your own life, or your own choices. And that, to be in touch with that, I think is really important, whether you do this work or not, just to be able to sort of
know what feels good.
Navigate all the madness that's in this world, and it takes some discernment to, I think, really find that like rich, joyful place where you're doing exactly what you want to be doing, and surrounded by exactly the, type of people and community that you need, or that's nurturing to you. And yeah, it's like it's a huge privilege to even be able to seek that out, you know.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but once you've done it, it's hard to do anything else. You know?
Love it.
So
So-
But yeah,
it's all
I
full
think,
of contradictions
well,
too.
yeah,
you know?
and I think that like it's the wisdom of like, yeah, just like being able to take that first risk of trusting yourself or trusting what you want to do and trusting your vision, whatever, and then realize how much like the universe catches you, like, and then once it like happens a few times, it becomes easier to be in that. And
Habituated to a positive world.
yeah.
Worldview. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's most excellent. You have a further question?
Uh,
I feel like that was right there.
yeah.
I do have
Nice.
one more question as a
Mhm.
takeaway.
Yeah.
For somebody who's starting off in this, what key, each of you in turn or each of you together, however you guys want to work that, but what key piece of guidance would you offer someone 17, 18 years old, 16, who's getting ready to blossom into whatever that seed of birth becomes into
Mhm.
adulthood? What's really was of value for you, that to you now, that you would have liked to have had somebody express and share with you at that point?
Great question. Do you want to start?
You can start if you want, if you're ready.
Do you mean in life in general, or for art specifically, or?
Whichever moves your heart, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best pieces of advice or practices that I got to discover was getting to work with an amazing mentor. To me, his name is Shrine, who is an amazing trash artist, and like his practice, it was so phenomenal to witness, especially early on when I was just setting out as an artist. And like, he's just making art continually. It's not all for a commission. It's not all for a piece. And it's like that way of just nonstop practicing. And especially if you're trying to be a professional artist, like, don't wait for a gig to build something, don't wait for a commission to paint something. Like, just get it out, exercise those muscles so that it's as easy as speaking or walking, across the room, that you can just breathe the art that you want to make, that it's just becomes so natural. And because then I think you get so connected to that intuition and your spirit and that creative spirit that's within you, that that it's like turning the volume up on your intuition by becoming like just fluent with your creativity, and like to just do it. And the more you do it, when it's not for a commission or it's not for something, then the less pressure you have for it to be perfect. Like, make all the mistakes, like do it wrong 1,000 times, and you're only gonna like grow and flourish from that practice. Like, to not get caught up in the figuring it out. I think that's one of the other best pieces of advice I could give, that if when you like commit yourself to, whether it's life as an artist or whatever, like following a dream or a goal, like, don't be afraid to commit yourself and make sacrifices for it without having it all figured out. Like, it's actually better if you don't, because if you think you have it figured out, the universe is going to show you really quickly how it has potentially a very different idea of how things are going to go. And it's hubris, it's like the more you humble yourself to acknowledging that perhaps like there is something way better than what you could even come up with that's out there waiting for you, you know, then it's you're trusting, you know, you're putting trust in that spirit, in that higher power, or that whatever's guiding you in your life, that like, yeah, you got me, let's do this, you know, and you make sacrifices towards like doing that thing that gives you joy or that you're inspired by, and the universe will respond by showing you exactly how to do that, you know. And like, I honestly think that's the best way you could go about following any dream, is to have no idea how you're going to get there, but just start making steps, putting your energy and attention there, and you know,
Yeah.
it'll
Excellent.
happen. Yeah.
Excellent. As my mentor and buddy Mark England would say, put in the reps, start, and keep going.
Yep.
Mhm.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
That's a key.
How about
Do you
you,
have anything you
Yustina?
want to add to
I feel like, yeah, the only thing I really have to add is really trust yourself and trust your dream, and don't be afraid to dream big and to like dream the world anew and be enchanted with life. And yeah, I think that, yeah, as much as you can practice trusting yourself and your inner voice, the more that it will guide you correctly, and like forget the rules. Like everything is made up, this game of life, like forget the rules. Like sure, you can learn them and play the game if you want to, but also know that you can reinvent them, and trust.
Excellent. Well, blessings, my friends. Look forward to hugging
Thank
you in
you.
person
Me
very soon.
too.
And
Thank you so much for this
that was a
invitation.
joyous conversation. A really, really pleasant. And I think that's a lot there that many will find of great value for themselves in their lives and enjoy in the listening. So thank you. And
Absolutely.
glad to be joined by, I mean, this is kind of like a double date here.
I know, this is really cute. We should do it again, even without videotaping next time, but
I love it.
Yeah.
yeah. But I'd rather do it in person, so let's do that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Agreed.
Well, we'll
All
talk
right.
to you soon and love you all. And
Big love.
talk to you
Thanks
soon.
to you both.
Thank
All
you
right.
both. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy Surprise Chicken Day.